guys, it's Ashley, and today it's time to talk about the books that I pretended to read in the month of May. So I didn't expect May to be a good reading month because BEA and BookCon were happening, and that was going to be an entire week out of my month that was like not going to get a whole lot of reading done because it's just a busy time. And I was correct in that I didn't really read much during that week. I finished a book on the plane there, and then I read a couple chapters over the length of BEA and BookCon and the flight home. But then when I came home, I was like energized to read all the things. And so I read a total of 11 books in the month of May, which is pretty good. And actually, if you look at the page number, I read more pages in the month of May than any other month this year so far. Just shy of 3,000 pages, which is pretty darn awesome in my opinion. So without further ado, let me show you the books that I pretended to read this month. The first was the most beautiful cover of the month. Actually, no, I can't say that because I read a lot of books with really pretty covers, but this was the first one, and it's just gorgeous. And that is The Crown by Kiera Cass. This is the final book in the selection series, and it was wonderful. It was so good. It got 5 stars from me, like the entire series did, because I just loved the series. I loved finding out who Edelyn chose and how it went, and it was just wonderful. I know there was all sorts of controversy over the choice, and I personally enjoyed it, but I felt like it kind of happened very, very suddenly and very, very quickly, and that seemed a little, I don't know, everything in that whole like end part of the book was just like, whoa, 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 what? Just one after the other, like boom, boom, boom. All right, there you go, it's over. And I would have liked a little bit more to it, but I think it worked. I think it worked because this series is just wonderful, and it's just so fluffy and romantic and fun. And if you haven't read it yet and you like all those things, then you should absolutely go read it because it's wonderful. Now the only thing I have left to this series is the novellas. So I'm kind of waiting because I don't want it to be fully over. I don't want it to. I love it. Then for the second book of the month, I switched gears a bit and went with something a little more educational, a little more business type. Well, not business type, it is a business book. And that is Platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World by Michael Hyatt. This book has been talked about in so many of my online circles that I finally picked it up because I figured, well, going to BEA is a good step towards building my personal brand. I should read Platform as prep work to getting there. So this is the book that I finished on the plane on the way to BEA. It was great. If you are in any kind of small business, if you have a YouTube channel, a blog, any kind of platform thing that you are trying to sell something or sell yourself or sell your words, then you should absolutely check out this book. There are 60 short chapters in this book that talk about different aspects of building a platform and keeping it going and selling yourself and selling your product. There was a large portion of the book dedicated to Twitter, which I found a little odd, but Twitter is such a great medium, and he spends a lot of time talking about how to use it and how to build followers and that kind of thing, which, because I suck at Twitter, I found really helpful. But if you're really great at Twitter, then you can just kind of skip those chapters and go to the chapters that apply better to you. The great thing about this book is that it's not so much like you have to read this chapter and then this chapter and then like in chronological order. You can jump around to the chapters that you really need. But I sat down and I read it all the way through because I have a thing about doing that with books, and I really enjoyed it, and there's so many good things in every single chapter. Even if you think it doesn't apply to you, it's great to know in case down the road you expand to that kind of thing. Like the parts about building a package for your product, talking about physical products and then the packaging, or how to set up your office and your reception area. Those things don't apply to me like in the slightest. However, it's good information. In case I get to that point, I just cannot speak more highly of this book. If you're in any sort of creative marketing, if you have any kind of creative business that you are in charge of, absolutely 100,000% get this book and read it because there's some really great information. And then we get to the book that I have been dying for. I have been looking forward to this book for a year. It doesn't come out for another 5 months or so I apologize to you and apologize to myself because now I have to wait for the third book, but I waited in like 4 hours of lines, and I finally have Gemena by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, and I read it and I loved it and I love it, and oh my gosh, you guys, if you liked Illuminae, you're going to love Gemena. Everything that I loved about Illuminae was just exalted, amplified in Gemena. Everything was so much better. You still have, breathe, Ashley, breathe, Ashley. Okay, so Gemena does not follow Katie and Ezra and Aiden. I know, but we get new characters and they are just as awesome and kick-ass, and we do get to see Katie and Aiden and some of the other people that we really like from Illuminae. Basically, Gemena takes place on the Heimdall Station. If you remember Illuminae, that's where the ships were trying to get to, was the Heimdall Station, so that they could get back to civilization and find help. And so we have Hannah, who lives on the Heimdall Station. Her father is the commander, captain, whatever it's called, of the Heimdall Station, and things start to go awry because it's Illuminae, and you know. It's so good. I don't want to give away too much. I will have a full book talk up because how can I not with this series, honestly? But everything you liked about Illuminae is still in this book. You still have great pictures. You still have the fun things. Our favorite analyst who does the... Why can't I think of words? Ashley, think of words. Our favorite analyst is back to give us the transcription of the security footage, and it's just wonderful. There's just so many great things to this. I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to stop myself here and just say if you liked Illuminae, you're going to like Gemena, and if you haven't read Illuminae, why haven't I convinced you yet? I will link my Illuminae talk down below. I love this series so much. I can't wait for the third book. Like, it's killing me how long I have to wait for the next book. It's absolutely killing me. Oh, so good. So good. Guys, I had such a good reading month. Then I read another arc that I got at BEA, and that is The Joy of Leaving Your Stuff All Over the Place by Jennifer McCartney. This is a parody response sort of thing to the life-changing magic of tidying up, which I talked about in last month's wrap-up, which I also didn't really like, and go check that video out for more information with that. I'm going to do a video comparing and contrasting these two books because it was just so good. This book is way more my style. It just talks about, like, why do you put all of your books in the cabinet where you can't see them? Leave them out so people can see your books so you can read them. Who's gonna empty their purse at the end of every night? Nobody's got time for that. And everything that I did not like about tidying up, I loved about leaving it all over the place. And there's just really cute little drawings. It's just wonderful. So if you were not a fan of tidying up, or maybe even if you were, this is a really fun, snarky response to that kind of mentality. I gave it 3 stars. It's not gonna change my life, but it was a really fun read. Then I read another BEA book because when I came home from BEA, I was just reading all the books. And this one comes out in November. It was another one that I was really looking forward to, and it's another one with an extremely gorgeous cover, and that is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This book is gorgeous. This book is a standalone. It follows a girl named Natasha as she is going through her last day before she's going to be deported back to her home country of Jamaica. The thing is, she's been in the United States most of her life. She came over when she was like 6 or 8 or something like that. So this is the only life she knows, and she really does not want to leave it. So she's trying everything she can in this final 24 hours to find someone who can help her stay. In the process, she literally bumps into a boy named Daniel who falls into complete love with her from the very beginning. And they start this crazy whirlwind one-day romance thing that just is adorable. There was just so much to this book. You have the aspect of deportation, you have the aspect of first love, and what's love versus lust, and is it possible to fall in love at first sight, and you have Daniel, who's very straight-laced and is on his way to an interview for a prestigious college, and Natasha's dreams are falling apart, but Daniel doesn't really want those dreams that he's going after. They're his parents' dreams, and it's just so great. And at the same time, you have the racial diversity there. She's Jamaican and he's Korean, I want to say. And there's just so many different aspects to it. And one of the things that I really loved about this book is the way that Nicola Yoon decided to tell the story. It's not just your usual story. It's not even just dual perspective. But you have chapters from Natasha's perspective, you have chapters from Daniel's perspective, but you also have these chapters that are just seemingly random. You'll have a chapter from the security guard who checks Natasha into the courthouse. You have a chapter about the history of hairstyles. You have a chapter about Daniel's father. You have all these different chapters about seemingly random things that kind of come together in the end. They tie together like the strings of the cover, and it's just so beautiful, and I love Nicola's writing. It met my expectations. I gave this book 4.5 stars out of 5. There was just that one little something missing for me towards the end. It didn't, I don't know, the romantic in me didn't want it to go that way, or it wanted it to go that way but be a little more in depth, and I'm not going to say any more because that would be totally spoiling everything for you, and I don't want to give anything away. I want you just to read this book and enjoy it so much, because I did. So it comes out in November, and you should definitely read it. I will have a full book talk up at some point before November. I'm so far behind on reviews. It's not even funny. This next book I got through BookTube tours. This book is Dating an Alien Pop Star by Kendra L. Saunders. This book was, I'll admit it, a title request, because who doesn't want to read a book called Dating an Alien Pop Star? However, the book was a little bit of a letdown for me. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was average, it was good, I didn't hate it, but there were aspects that I didn't like. My full book talk on this will be coming up on June 7th, so stay tuned for that. But a quick little summary is that we have our main character, Daisy, is living in New York after she's kind of run away from home. She's 29 years old, which is a nice change of pace. As someone who likes to read YA, to read a book of somebody who's my same age was really nice. So she got very fed up with her Midwestern town, decided to run away to New York to live in the music and all the fame and all of that fun stuff, and she kind of just has a life. She's working 2 dead-end jobs, trying to make ends meet. She's got like 5 different roommates, just trying to survive in New York City. And one day, she's walking along and she meets Griffin and Dev, who, it turns out, are actually aliens, and they're trying to be British pop stars here in the United States. She gets sucked into their world. They kind of abduct her to be Griffin's stylist, and things just kind of escalate from there. Now, the thing that bugged me a good chunk of the time was that Griffin and Dev are described right on the back of the book as super massively sexy aliens, but for the most part, I pictured them as Finn and what was his name? From Gilmore Girls and the Life and Death Brigade, those 2 guys that were Logan's buddies. I can't think of his name. This is embarrassing as a Gilmore Girls fan, but you know who I'm talking about. They just kind of struck me as that, like just let's go out and party, let's be silly and goofy and all of this crazy stuff, and they're not actually all that sexy. The only time Griffin was actually sexy was when, like, you know, he and Daisy were alone in the bedroom and there was levitating and all of that stuff. That could sound really dirty. I mean, like actual levitating. I mean, there were dirty moments as well, because you can't describe them as super massively sexy aliens on the back and not have some sexy times. But that was one of my really big complaints, and then I didn't connect with the story as much as I wanted to, but it was a really fun story. This would be a great, like, beach read since we're going into summer. But yeah, it got 3 out of 5 stars for me. I will be doing a full review next week, so stay tuned. I read 3 books towards the year of Doll. I read SEO Trot and The Giraffe and the Pelly and Me, and Boy, which is the first of his autobiographical books. So I read 3 books. There will be an update coming soon because I didn't do one last month. So we'll just put these together with the books I read last month and do a little talk on them coming soon. I keep saying soon in this video, I apologize. And then the last book that I read for the month of May, I finished last night at like 11:59, so just made it, and that is The House of Hades by Rick Riordan. This is the 4th book in the Heroes of Olympus series, and I loved it. I mean, it got 5 out of 5 stars, like the entire series does, because it's just amazing. Rick Riordan is a writing genius. I mean, if you have to put a glossary in the back of your book to remind everybody who the characters are and whether they're Greek or Roman and all of that, there's a lot going on in your books, but he makes it work. I mean, you have your 7 main characters who are on this quest, and then you have all of the Greek gods and all of the Roman gods, and then you have minor gods, and then you have other demigods, and it's just so many characters. It's unbelievable. But he makes it work, and in a way that you don't really forget too much. He tends to remind you of who they are and what happened with them and stuff. It's just so good. One thing I really enjoyed about this entry in the Heroes of Olympus series is that we got to see from all 7 demigods. If you remember from last month when I finished the Mark of Athena, one of my complaints was that we only got a few people's perspectives. In the House of Hades, we got to see from all 7 demigods who are aboard the Argo II. I really liked that. I liked that we got to see people's backstories and see what they were thinking and how this quest was affecting them, how they were changing and growing along the way. It was just wonderful. I really liked this. I can't say much without giving stuff away, so I'm just gonna end there. So there you have it, the 11 books that I read in the month of May, or you know, maybe I just pretended to read them. I am wearing makeup, so could I really read a book? So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite book of the month was. I can't choose one. I mean, it's probably Gemena. Yeah, it's Gemena. It's Gemena. As much as I loved the other books, so many of them got 5 out of 5 stars for me this month, but I mean, it's Gemena. It's my baby. And it's signed. Did I show you that it's signed? Because it is. It's signed to me. This is my favorite. So let me know what your favorite book of the month was. I'd love to hear from you. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon. Bye.